Well, we said we were going on a camping trip and we are ready to go. We have the bikes on the back on the bike rack. We've got the R1S full to the gills. This is also where we'll be sleeping back here using camping mode the next 2 nights. And we're off to Highland Hammock State Park near Sebring, Florida. It's about 111 miles. I've got 363 miles of range, so we should be able to get there and back without charging. We also have a 30 amp electric hookup at our site, I believe. So if we do, we'll use that a little bit to top off while we're there. Here we go. Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. We charged to 90% state of charge, estimated 362 miles. We have arrived. Yes, Florida, the Sunshine State, except today it's rainy and not all that nice. We're here though, and it's gonna rain tonight, so I'm glad we're sleeping in here and not on a tent on the ground. It was 112 miles. We used 34% of the battery. So if you did, 350 miles worth of range is what we might expect overall, I'm guessing. We're gonna go ahead and get set up and get the back set up to camp in, and we'll get back with you then. The thing about making your vehicle your bed is everything else has to be out of the vehicle by then, and in the rain that was a little bit less than pleasant. But we've got the grill over here, we've got one of the totes over there, 2 totes under there, the lawn chairs and the table that we'll actually use, and we have the outlet in use. Currently we are running the load that I think might be the trickiest of all of them. I'm sure we can't do multiple things at once, but we're able to run the grill full out, and it has not tripped the breaker. So this is exciting for use. It's certainly not the F-150 Lightning, but the 1500 watt inverter seems to be doing its thing so far. All right, the way it works is the hot plate works, or the grill works, but when I turn the grill on, then the hot plate, it doesn't trip the inverter in the vehicle, in the Rivian. It just, the hot plate's not getting enough power, so it shuts off. Then when I shut the grill back off, the hot plate comes on by itself. So it kind of takes care of itself, if you will, without tripping the inverter in the Rivian. To make sleeping in the back more comfortable, the Rivian has a setting in their camp mode where it levels the vehicle. As you can see, we're on a little bit of an uphill here, so the front end is down low. The back end, though, is up higher. This corner back here is even a little bit lower, so it's a little bit higher. And the sleeping platform is level. This is the sound of the rain beating down on us as we bed down for the night to sleep. Warm, dry, 72 degrees. It's gonna be a good night. Good morning. We slept very well last night. Got up, made our coffee. We're gonna have breakfast, but through the night, the rascally raccoons got into the cooler and they ate everything. Eggs, sausage, bratwurst, lettuce, cheese, one of the cups of yogurt at least, pretty much everything. Oh, all the sliced turkey for sandwiches for lunch. Pretty much got everything. So we will be going to the store and probably out to breakfast. It's also shockingly going to rain again. Had to go to Publix to replace the food that the raccoons got last night. And as I mentioned on this trip, it's raining. Rains a lot on this trip. Florida, January, not supposed to rain. We have 40% range, which would not be enough to get us back home quite. I was just going to charge at the campsite tonight. We actually have a NEMA 1450 outlet there. I thought we just had a TT30 120 volt, but there's a 50 amp 240 volt. But since it's raining, there's not much else to do. I thought I'd try out the EV charger at the Chevrolet dealership in Sebring, which is only about 3 miles from the campground. So let's see if this EV Connect works for us. I logged into my EV Connect app started the station, which I know they always say plug in first. I always actually start the station first because sometimes they time out. Otherwise, you do have to jump out and get it plugged in pretty quick then. But that's what I found to be a better way to use it, particularly on Electrify America. I'm not so sure about these. So here we are getting, ramping up here. We're getting 80 kilowatts, a little over 80 kilowatts. This is rated at 180. So I hope we do a little better than this, although with 41% battery, we probably won't get the full capacity. You can also see the charging stats on the center main screen when you're charging. The highest it looks like we're gonna get to is 84, 85, maybe we'll hit 86. I don't know if that's because of the charger or because of the state of the battery, because it's already over 50%. I would think even at this state we'd get up to the 120s, so I'm guessing maybe it's the charger, but in these things you just never know. The sun is finally shining and it's time to go home. I'm going to load everything back up, get the bikes back on. Pretty much everything else is already in here. Picnic, the campsite is clean. We're gonna load the bikes up, then we're gonna go drive a little ways, go for a bike ride, and then we're going to head home. Who can resist a trail like this? A boardwalk into the swamp with gators all around. Our stroll through the cypress swamp on a variety of boardwalks was quite delightful. We saw not only the cypress and other trees, we saw a snake in the area. We also saw some wild pig. We did not see any alligators, saw several birds, and really enjoyed our time in the swamp. We are ready to head home. The route we're going to take is 110 miles. The car says I have 313 miles, 78%. Actually 313 miles, 78%, 110 miles home. That means we should get home with 203 miles. Let's see what we actually get. For the ride home, we took a route with variable traffic and highway conditions. It varied from limited access highways with speed limits of 65 miles an hour, rural 2-lane highways with speed limits around 60 miles an hour, and of course some urban driving as we got closer to Sanibel. I generally kept the speed at the speed limit. We have arrived at our destination with a projected range of 200 miles, 49% battery. It's almost 50%. It did not drop to 49% until I turned into the driveway. We left with 78%, arrived with say 50%, and traveled about 110 miles. These figures are not exact because I forgot to set the trip odometer, but if we went 110 miles and used 28% of the battery, that would equate to 392 miles of range on a full charge. This makes sense as at 50% range, it initially showed 204 miles, which would equate to 408 miles on a full charge. Now that is with a history of only about 380 miles, but it is still pretty impressive. Now the conditions today were nearly perfect. Speed was 65 miles an hour or less. We had a tailwind for most of the drive, and the temperature was around 70 degrees. Still, for over a 100-mile trip in mostly rural areas, getting close to the 400-mile EPA range is pretty impressive. We do have the 21-inch all seasons and even the aero caps on the wheels to maximize range. If we can get well over 300 miles on a trip, I will be quite happy. A last few things we learned over the course of our 2 nights involved camp mode. We showed earlier the self-leveling of the cab worked. We also learned to use the courtesy light function to keep light from shining all over the campground every time we walked by the truck or opened a door. The floodlights on the mirror worked reasonably well, although I think the forward mirror lights are brighter and have a better throw. Lastly, we came to understand that to keep the cabin temperature where we wanted it, we had to keep the energy use to stay on rather than normal. We hope you have enjoyed our first camping trip with the R1S and showing some of what it can do. If you did, please hit the like button. We have another trip planned for next month, so make sure you are subscribed and have the notifications turned on to see our upcoming content. Thank you!